Hey darlings. Yurka Komarov was walking from the canteen. He already put his foot on the first step of the stairs when he heard some rustle under it. He looked under the stairs and saw Stepka and Pashka. What are you doing here? Nothing. Go where you are going. Stepka waved. At this moment, a call was given. Stepka and Pashka ran out, hiding something in their pockets, and all three ran to the second floor together. Jumping over 2 steps, they entered the class last. Ksenichka wrote on the board the options for the control work. The guys hurriedly sat down in places. Yurka looked around. The classmates were whispering, hiding in the textbook to write down. Ksenichka quickly turned around and the class was quiet. I'll see who writes down. I'll put a double right away. She said it with a stern tone, turning back to the board. Ksenichka immediately resumed. She taught at their school for only 2 years after the graduation of the Pedagogical Institute. Ksenia Ivanovna hid her youth behind the strictness and large glasses with simple glasses in a black red-hot dress. With his light hand, everyone in the school called her Ksenichka. This year she became the class leader of the 7th grade. Boys and girls, often bullied, skipping classes. Ksenichka was lost, unable to call the class to order. Once Yurka thought she was going to cry. He couldn't stand it, got up and yelled at the classmates. You're not normal. She's trying for you. You cannot study if you do not want, but do not interfere with the rest. It was so unexpected that everyone calmed down. Only Pasha giggled and said that the mosquito fell in love. He was immediately stung by him. Since then, the class has been quieter. Ksenichka finished the task and put the chalk. When she was several balls of the balls made of a ball handle were hit. Several balls got stuck in her hair. Ksenichka briskly shook them, as if they were nasty spiders. Someone laughed. Yurka looked at the last batch, where Stepka and Pashka were sitting. They looked indeniable, but by the cunning eyes, Yurka realized that they were the ones who were doing it. That's what they were doing under the stairs, preparing to tear the control room. They opened the notebook. Ksenichka said, ringing from nervous tension of the voice. The students again rumbled. Who sits on the left side of the row decides the first option, the rest is the second. Ksenia sat down at the teacher's table. Everyone stumbled into the notebook, and Yurka looked at Stepka and Pasha again and showed them the fist. Another portion of the balls flew to the side of the teacher's table, but only the girls sitting on the front boards got hit. Ksenia Ivanovna, Skvortsov and Shishkin are throwing themselves. Masha and Volgin complained. Why are we right away? We didn't do anything, and got up from the chair. And then Yurka threw a paper stone at him. Ouch! Styopka screamed and pressed his palm against his cheek. You see? Mosquitoes! Ksenichka said loudly and got up from the table. I didn't expect this from you. We are not on the table for the diary. 2 for the control room. She sat down again and opened the magazine. Yurka ran up to the table and put down her diary. Her parents would come to school tomorrow. How are you doing at school? Asked her father in the evening. Fine. Ksenichka calls you to school. What did you do? Nothing. Yura said. Nothing? They don't call for anything at school. Tell me. We had a test in mathematics today. Stepka and Pashka began to throw themselves into Ksenichka. Ksenia Ivanovna. Yura recovered. I felt sorry for her and I took revenge. The class one noticed, put a 2 for the control one, and you want to say that you suffered unfairly? Yurka shook his shoulders. It was necessary to send you to your grandmother right away. Unfortunately, said the father. Dad, I'm really not to blame. I'm not lying. I'm not going to my grandmother. Yurka argued. We'll decide later. The father turned to the TV and Yurka realized that arguing is useless. Yurka hoped that something would happen during this time, and his father would be soft and change his mind. The next day, Yurkin's father came to school during his lunch break. Ksenichka had a window. She was sitting in the teacher's room and checking the notebooks with this very happy math control. Hello, I am Kirill Sergeyevich Komarov. He presented himself as, without knocking into the teacher's room. Ksenichka fixed the glasses that always crawled from the carrier. The father of the mosquitoes, Yurka Komarov, was a large, tall, and bright man, 35 years old. His male beauty caught the eye, forcing the woman's heart to beat more often. Ksenia Ivanovna Snezhureva, the class leader of your son. Ksenichka stood up. She took off her glasses for some reason and immediately put them on again. I have to tell you, she was much lower than Yurkin's father, so she straightened her back and pulled up her chin to look taller and more significant. No, I have to tell you. Kirill hit her. My son is not to blame for anything, and you put him a double in the magazine and kicked out of the lesson, and they also called me to school. Ksenia thought she was laughing at her. How so? She asked highly. Yes, 2 students tried to break the control room. Yesterday. They hoped that you would kick them out. They threw you out, right? Yurka decided to stand up for you. It turns out that you put him a double, kicked out of the lesson, and the guilty were safely avoided punishment. Kirill took the initiative in his own hands. The control room was a punishment for the 2 of them. Both are bad at studying from a row away. They don't know math at all. And you think I should have rid them of the control room? And the mosquitoes? Saying Yurkin's last name, Ksenichka softened the tone a little. Mathematics knows perfectly. For him, this control is too easy. By the way, I didn't put a 2 on him. She added it calmly and a little bit guilty. And those 2 got a 2. She bowed to the top of the notebook on the table. Ah, I understand. Educational experiment. Then why did you call me to school, if you know about the innocence of your son? And really, why? Asked Yura, confused look. Ksenichka bit her lip. Well, Yura also threw herself. Unconfidently said Ksenichka and corrected the glasses. He acted the same way, even for good purposes. He violated the order in the class, hindering others. Ksenichka explained, as if she were answering the teacher. Kirill was looking at the math teacher. Young, cute, just graduated from the institute, trying to look strict and mature. She caught these stupid glasses. There are no children of her own, and she is trying to educate our children there. He thought. She was embarrassed by his look, turned red and looked like a schoolgirl. I would also be for such a I would also be for Kirill thought not by the way. An awkward pause came. Kirill got tired like a little seed. You see, Yura's mother died 6 months ago. I wanted to send him to his grandmother, but then I changed my mind. I've been at work for days. The guy is given to himself. He, to him. It's hard for us. For some reason, Kirill became discontent. Although he was not going to do this at all. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Yura didn't say. Ksenichka said quietly. I forbade him to say this so that they would not regret it. As I understand, the incident is exhausted. I can go. I have a break-ins, Kirill said, but did not move from the place. They looked at each other until Ksenichka woke up. She took off her glasses again and put them on right away. Without them, she felt undressed and defenseless in front of the mosquito senior. Yes, of course, she said. Goodbye. Kirill smiled and often hit the heart of Ksenia in the chest. After the lessons, she took Yura home. Why? Yura asked surprisingly. And at home you will calmly write a control room. Or do you want me to put a 2 for you? I don't want to. Yurka walked next to Ksenichka, not understanding anything. She was some other, affectionate with him or something. And that made him angry. I could immediately put you a 5. For you this is an easy task, but they will be able to check. Therefore, it is necessary that you write it. You were at the lessons that day. Father said, about Mom. You decided to pity me? Yurka guessed. Your father loves you very much. You are everything he has. Ksenichka said. They no longer talked to her at home. Mom, we are home. She screamed, barely entering the apartment. Dress up. We? Ksenichka's mom came out to the hallway, the same skinny and cute. This is Yurka Komarov, my best math teacher. And this is my mom, Lydia Andreevna. Mom, we really want to eat. My hands are in the bathroom. Ksenichka showed Yura where the bathroom is and pushed him in the back. Yura wanted to refuse lunch, but there was already a plate with red borscht on the table, and the mouth was filled with saliva from the appetizing smell. He tried to eat slowly, but the borscht turned out to be so delicious that the plate soon fell down. Lydia Andreevna added some more to it. Then Ksenia put Yura at her table and gave a piece of paper with the task. But in the class it was different. Yura was surprised to find herself on the teacher's desk. Yes, for you it is too easy. Solve it. And Ksenichka left the room. Yurka could write off, but he was ashamed. The tasks were difficult, and soon he was so involved in their decisions that he forgot about everything. Ksenichka checked the work at him, praised, and put a 5. Here is the book. Look, there are examples. How to solve problems in different ways. I thought there were no such textbooks. Yurka said, and took the book. A photo of a man in a white plaid jacket fell out of it. He smiled and giggled in the sun. This is my dad. He was a long-distance sailing captain. Ksenichka took a picture of him. He died. Yurka penetrated Ksenichka with sympathy and felt a relative soul. Something changed in her again. She has no glasses. Finally, Yurka figured it out. Without them, she is very even nothing. At that moment, the phone vibrated in his pocket. Yes, Dad, Yurka replied, and Ksenichka tactically turned away. I am at Ksenia Ivanovna's. I was doing the checkup. Okay. Sorry, I kept you waiting. Ksenichka apologized, looking at Yura typing the text on the phone. Dad will come for me now. I wrote your address, he said, putting the phone in his pocket. Maybe I'll have some tea? Ksenichka asked. They drank tea in the kitchen when they called the door. This is Dad. Yurka jumped up from the chair. They went out with Ksenichka to the hallway. Kirill did not recognize her without glasses, and when he did, he confusedly turned his gaze to his son. He did something else. He asked him more often than necessary, trying to hide the awkwardness that had arisen. What kind of book is this? This? Yurka began to speak, but Kirill was already looking at Ksenichka again. Dress up, we have to go. The father ordered to address Yura, but not taking his eyes off the teacher. Where are you going? I have dinner ready. Lady Andreevna came out to the hallway. Ksenichka, invite guests to the table. Next time we have to go. Kirill smiled, noting how mom and daughter look alike. And in a day Kirill was waiting for Ksenichka in the car near the school. They began to meet, trying not to show themselves in the harsh places. But they were still seen and crawled from the swamps. At school, Stepka congratulated Yurka that he would soon have a stepmother. Yurka hit him. The fight began. Kirill was called to school again, this time to the director. And then the director called Ksenichka. Ksenia Ivanovna, it is unacceptable to meet with the father of your student. This is not ethical. You were seen together in the cinema. Cafe. What example do you give to your students? It is unethical to go to the cinema? Ksenichka boldly asked. You are an adult girl. You can meet anyone, but not with the father of the student. The director was irritated. Rumors spread. The guys fought. The teacher must give a good example, otherwise, he is a bad teacher. Some kind of Stone Age, Ksenichka said. We will have to part. My advice to you is to go to another school, or better to leave the city. Our town is small. Rumors from the community spoil the reputation of the teacher. Write a statement about leaving. Do not wait for parents to start complaining about you. And we will have to take measures. Ksenia left the director's office in a mess. She wrote a statement. She did not believe that she was fired because of her relationship with the student's father. He again restored justice, asked the father in the evening, seeing Satyina and Senyaki on Yurkin's face. Is this true? Are you dating Ksenia? Do you want to marry her? They laugh at me at school. Call her my mother. He threw himself at Yura's father instead of an answer. Yes, son. For the most unexpected, I fell in love like a boy. I understand that too little time has passed, but I can't do anything with myself. I hope you will understand me when you grow up. Kirill sat next to Yura on the couch. Dad, do you love her? Kirill kept silent, looking at some point. On the floor. She resigned. Or rather, she was offered to go to another school, said Yurka. How? Kirill stood on his son. It's because of me. I'm going to her now. He jumped off the couch and hurriedly went to the hallway. I'm with you. Yurka jumped out of the hallway. Kirill looked at his son for a moment, and then, according to Kivno, Ksenia began to speak to Kirill from the threshold when they came to his teacher with Yurka. I was fired, forced to write a statement. The teacher should not meet with the father of his student. Ksenia smiled. She was without glasses and in a light-hearted home dress, and Kirill was suffocated by I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Kirill said the blame. Ksenichka raised her finger at the carrier, forgetting that she had no glasses. You don't want to meet me anymore. There are other schools, you can go to another city, but we can no longer hide, she hastily said, not paying attention to Yura, who was standing next to her father. Yurka pulled his father by the hand. Wait. Kirill beat his son. Are you really ready to leave everything for me and go to another city? After my wife's death, I thought that I would never. I love you. Me too. Yurka warned his father. What too? The choir asked Kirill with Ksenichka and stood up to Yurka. I love you too. And ready to leave even at the end of the world. Yurka smiled. Ksenichka, why are you keeping guests in the hallway? Lydia Andreevna showed up from the room. Kirill and Ksenichka got married 3 months later. They moved to a neighboring big city. Ksenichka started working at a school with a mathematical degree, where Yurka also studied. He called her by her name and surname at school, and the house was just a little bit of a haystack. If someone tried to call it a match, he would answer abruptly or fight. 9 months later, Yurka Komarova gave birth to a little sister. That's how one school lesson accidentally led 2 people together. Or not accidentally. We had to find each other in this world, each one to live through everything that they have lived until we meet, to dive out, to fill the air with lightness, and to understand that inside love you can breathe, taking it in your hands, give yourself the flow of love, and start living already there, inside this feeling.